7 things worn in Paris every day by women who look composed, unhurried, and right. The cardigan is one of them, but the cardigan is not the problem. It's the layer count, not obscure women. The ones photographed in cafes on the Rue de Rivoli, stepping out of the metro in November, looking as if they barely thought about it. These 7 items appear in their wardrobes and in yours. The difference between how they read there and how they read in English-speaking countries isn't the garment. It's one translating detail in each case, a question of proportion or finish, or how something is carried, that shifts the reading entirely. This is what people mean when they talk about a capsule wardrobe done correctly, not a list of items, but a set of principles that travel across everything you already own. One of the 7 isn't a garment at all. That one comes last. The cardigan first. In English-speaking countries, it tends to arrive as the 3rd layer, over a blouse, over a camisole, added at the door as the cold makes itself felt. By the time it's buttoned, it reads like insulation, something functional rather than something chosen. In Paris, the cardigan is the outermost layer. It goes over a fitted shell, plain, usually tucked, and it sits on top of everything else as a decision. Whether it's from Cézanne or a thrift shop, a French woman could be wearing the exact same cardigan as someone standing beside her, and the readings would be different because what's underneath it is different. The cardigan is fine. The layer count is the whole question. The 3/4 sleeve is more precise. A sleeve cut to 3/4 length is the manufacturer's answer to a question the wearer never asked. It ends at a fixed point, the same fixed point on every body regardless of where that body's wrist happens to be, and it can't be adjusted. You can't push it further up without the cut edge moving awkwardly along the arm. You can't pull it down past what's been sewn. A woman in Paris who wants the forearm showing pushes a full-length sleeve up herself. 5 seconds. The bunched fabric at the elbow is the record of that decision. Visible, recent, personal. A cut sleeve removes the decision and replaces it with someone else's judgment about your arm. That's what you're wearing when you wear it. Someone else's answer. The small floral depends almost entirely on scale. A dense, all-over repeat on a light ground turns into surface noise. The eye tracks the pattern and loses the person wearing it. A single larger motif, or a few significant elements on a more saturated or darker ground, reads as contrast, and contrast reads as intention. French women who wear florals tend toward one considered botanical element rather than a scattered field of smaller ones. This is not a rule anyone states. It's what you observe when you compare what's actually hanging on Parisian women against what English-speaking retailers have produced for the better part of 30 years. Which has leaned heavily toward the small, dense repeat. The scale question doesn't require changing anything that's already in the wardrobe. It belongs to the next purchase. The pearls are the 4th item, and the strand is not the problem. The set is. A single strand against a plain knit reads clearly, this particular piece was wanted today for a reason. A strand plus matching drop earrings plus a brooch says something else. Each piece was considered, and then all of them went on together, and the accumulated weight of 3 individually considered choices reads as effort, and the wrong kind of effort at that. The tendency in Paris is toward one element at a time. The earrings or the strand, rarely both at once. The brooch appears occasionally, pinned alone to something plain, where it carries its full attention without competition. Worn as part of a complete ensemble, the pieces spread across each other and dilute what any one of them could have done alone. Coco Chanel's observation that you should remove one thing before leaving the house is so often repeated that it has become noise, but it describes something real, and this is what it describes. The tunic over trousers. 2 inches settles this entirely, and it's almost always the same 2 inches. A tunic that ends below the widest point of the hip draws a horizontal line exactly there, and the eye stops. Moving the hem above that point defines the waist first and releases the eye upward. Most women assess this while the garment hangs on a hanger in a changing room, or while holding it against the body at arm's length, and in neither position does the real question appear. The check requires standing, hands relaxed at the sides, and looking at where the hem falls specifically in relation to the hip, not whether the length feels balanced in the abstract, but whether it ends above or below the widest point. One of those is correct for this purpose. The other isn't, on any body. The elasticated waistband. I want to be careful about this one, because it gets discussed as an aesthetic choice that went wrong, and that's not the full account. In 1995, the American Society for Testing and Materials, ASTM International, published a voluntary sizing standard written specifically for women over 55. It was the first of its kind, an acknowledgement in writing that the body changes shape in ways standard sizing doesn't address, and that this was a problem with a technical solution. The garment industry did not widely adopt it. The elasticated waist exists, in significant part, as a workaround for a fitting problem that was formally recognized and then left without a proper industry-wide answer. There's nothing wrong with the comfort. The problem is specifically visibility. When the gather of the waistband shows on the outside of the garment, when the fabric bunches horizontally across the top of the hip, it reads as a medical accommodation rather than a structural design element. A structured waistband placed over the elastic, or a top that covers the gather, produces the identical comfort underneath and a different reading on the outside. The garment stays. The gather disappears. The seventh thing is not a garment. It's the inside of the elbow. That's where handbags are typically carried in English-speaking countries. The bag looped over the forearm, resting in the crook of the arm. Look at fashion photography from the 1950s through the early 1980s, and this carry appears on almost every spread. It was the correct way to hold a bag through a specific cultural period, and the association between this position and that era has never fully dissolved. French women carry in the hand or across the body. The hand carry is the more instructive one, bag held by the handle, arm hanging naturally, the bag moving the way a person moves when they're not thinking about where the bag is. That carry requires a bag with an actual handle rather than just a loop, but most bags have one. The elbow carry lifts the arm slightly. That small mechanical change alters the posture, which alters the silhouette, which is what someone 5 meters away reads first. It is the closest thing to a visible explanation of what people mean when they reach for the phrase je ne sais quoi. The quality reads as ease, and the ease is partly mechanical. Nothing in this list needs to leave your wardrobe. The cardigan stays. It just goes over 1 layer now, not 3. The sleeve issue resolves when you stop buying cuts and start pushing full-length ones up instead, which also means the full-length sleeve is the more versatile purchase from this point forward. The floral scale is the question at the next shop, not today. The pearl ensemble can stay in its box until you want one piece of it. Then one piece comes out, and the rest waits. The tunic requires standing in front of a mirror and looking at a specific thing, the hem and the hip, for about 10 seconds, which may end in a small roll of the waistband or a slight tuck, or in nothing at all if it already sits where it should. The elasticated waist, covered or not covered. If it isn't, something layers over it, and the bag goes on your hand this afternoon.